Ndị be anyị ekele m unu ọzọ n'ụbọchị uhuruchi nke taa. A sị n'ụbọchị nke taa ya mara na anyị mma. Esukwa m na anyị ya dịka echi na echi ada agwụ agwụ. Otu anyị kwuru otu akwa ya dịrịrị ise ise ise. Dịka anyị si kwuo unu nkwa na anyị ga-ewetara unu ya bụ daily update n'elu akwụkwọ bụ gbasịta maka ife debe n'obodo and gbasịta maka nwere ụwa anyị na-azọ and gbasịta maka ihe na-eme n'Igbo communities. Nke dịka ibe ya bụ ya bụ Eastern News 24 ka esi were wetara unu ya bụ ozi ka unu ga-eme ka asị onye nụrụ si mee gịnị ya kọrọ nwanne ya. Ya bụ onye nne na anyị n'iru akwụkwọ bụ Asari Dukubo. Na nke ikpeazụ a ịma na mgbado unu na-egwu echenjigo maka onye gbara nwanne ya egbe ka ya na nwanne ya so na-eje nta o were egbe gbaa ya n'ọkpa sị n'ọkpa ya dịka ọkpa ya na ya bụ onye ahụ ga-enukunu n'ihe ya bụ ka egwu si wee chenji ya ka mmadogide ya ebe a. Over to you.
Abdullahi Achim Jungudu, Assalamu alaikum. Ahmed Idris, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Gani Yusuf, Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Kareem. Isaiah Edwin, Tawrai Bata, Banimi J. West, Ebata, Kabiru Danjuma, Assalamu alaikum. Kelvin Tana, Gani wa alaikum salam. Buhari Jima, Assalamu alaikum. Mozdon Shimele India Mana Eude. Good morning. Pap Hassan, Assalamu alaikum. James College, you are welcome. Assalamu alaikum Osugu. Kelvin, good morning. Ebate Mulu Ayara. Ayoma Jinawa Assalam. Ahmed Idris wa alaikum salam. Thank you. Today we are going to discuss Calabar history. And one of the historical area we are going to talk about is trade with the outside world. Trade with the outside world. When the Portuguese left Europe to look for a new route, to India because of the Muslims of the Ottoman occupying and closing down Stanley Torah closing down the Silk Route. Spices were not getting into Europe. And after the defeat of the Muslim kingdoms in Andalusia, now Spain, Portugal, and southern France, Queen Isabella decided that there was a need for them to bypass Europe, bypass the European mainland and go through to India, to China, to buy spices, silk, and other things. But the Ottomans, now Turkey, were standing as a barrier. They were standing as a barrier between them and the Europeans and the Indians and Asia. They cannot go to Asia. So they decided to discover a new route. So they set out coming to Africa. And the first point of stop was at Fuchi. And Fuchi means in Spanish, first town, which is present-day Ifoko at the mouth of the new Calabar River, Calabar Toro. They landed there, and from there they proceeded the same year to discover. They went to Cape of Good Hope, where we have what is called Cape Town, and they turned around. When they reached there, they realized that they can actually turn around and leave the Atlantic Ocean and go into the Indian Ocean and proceed. And they now call the place Cape of Good Hope, where Cape Town is now. So from the facts available to us, the first place where Europeans stopped when they left Europe to Africa was at Fuchi, first town. The first town they stopped at. And that was around 1412 or thereabout. So for Calabari people, and in the books, which I will show you by next week, they clearly stated the type of things they exchanged with the things they brought. There was so much wine at Truche. So when the Dutch came, they called the place Wine Drop because of the abundance of palm trees and the people craft of making palm wine. So they said they changed elephant teeth and several other things they changed and they left. But more comprehensive records have come down to us. More comprehensive records have come down to us from European explorers and adventurers. More comprehensive records have come to us. And we are going to look at these records. And we are going to read a few for us. In the Esperado de Satu orbits, we have the following description. It says, Yod it gives a very accurate description of Rio de Ri, estuary, that's New Calabar River. Describe the two passages across the bay and how to use the east one to make a safe anchorage. It described a very large village of some 2,000 inhabitants engaged in making salt near the anchorage, and says that the people of this river are called Jos, Ijo. They are warlike cannibals, rarely at peace. I'm not reading what is in my mind. I'm reading reports of Europeans who came in the book.
So my people, that is the end of the video right there. This man may be speaking the mind of the government without your knowledge. I think that this statement should be taken serious. It should not be underrated or taken for granted. I think that this is the plan of the federal government of Nigeria. Something has to be done and done very quickly. The Southeast governors, like the brother to Mazen Namdekano has said, needs to wage into this matter for proper and very efficient constructive dialogue that we set things on the right path. If not, there may be problems, my people. So let me know what you think about it. And don't also forget to drop your comment and share this video, because a lot of people are not aware of this development. You know that the title of this particular video from Arise News TV is saying that Mazen Namdekano's brother calls for this, the intervention of the Southeast governors. So some people may not know that such big information is inside this particular video. That is why you need to share it and let others hear what is going on and what is happening in Nigeria right now. This is a very serious case that needs very urgent attention. If these people want Mazen Namdekano to drop his agitation for freedom, did they ask Igbo or Momoyele Sowore to do the same? Or when it comes to Igbo people, the game is always different. That is what Nigeria is telling us. Whenever it concerns Igbo people, they begin to change the matter. Sunday Igbo did not drop his Dudu agitation before he was released. Momoyele Sowore did not denounce revolution now before he was released. And the charges are all the same, treasonable felony against all of them. So why is this man still in detention? That is a very big question that needs an answer. So
the description of the coastline on the eastern
let us know your opinion on this matter and what you have to say. Please share this video and make it go viral.
No name to the very big village. It could as well be the village of Boni,
I'll see you people on the next one.
It could also be the village of Yanko, the traditional home of Tombia, which became the Finima of Italy. It is not so likely to have been the village occupied by Abalama, whom the Boni immigrants drove away. At the site which Boni still referred to as Abalama Bay is further inland and far away from the anchorage. Esmeralda shows that slave trade was already well established. The description also implies that it was communities other than the coastal village which were engaged in the trade. They come from up the river and sell to the natives of the village. This could refer to either Calabar, either at the Oboamafo or Elem Calabar side, as both sides would be from up the river. It could also refer to some people of Boni, but it might certainly well refer to Krikans who were the traditional supplier of yam and similar food crops, so to the Boni people, or to the Andonis who provided them with livestock. Rio de San Domingo is usually called today the Andoni River, while the same beyond it is the estuary immediately south of Opobo, which Walton later referred to as Comtoro. Nobody has yet identified the two small rivers which have no trade and are therefore nameless, and it is at this point that Esmeraldo description of the coast sees it. It passes on. Now, this was around 1612 that this description was given. We continue to look at the description of these rivers. Now, the development of Calabari's slave trade is associated with Eweredaba and that of Boni with King Asimini. So the person who brought slave trade to the Calabari area is Eweredaba, Black Duke. So we're going to look at why King Asimini is accredited with starting the slave trade. Now, at that time, Calabari dominated the trade. At that time, Calabari dominated the slave trade. That is found in Jones, when you go to Jones. At the time of Eweredaba, Calabari was the dominant slave merchant. Calabari was the dominant slave port. And Calabari were trading from Bekinkri, white man land. Calabaris were trading from Bekinkri, white man land. Now, in 1678 and 1682, John Barbot made two voyages. John Barbot made two voyages to the New Calabar River. And Barbot's report, Barbot said he stayed within New Calabar and he gave a very elaborate description of what New Calabar looks like. He gave a very comprehensive description of what New Calabar looks like. John Barbot. He gave a very good description. Then his brother, this is what he said. New Calabar, this is what he said about New Calabar. Civilized people. And we get in their proper season. All sorts of eatable, yam, banana, corn, etc. were available. And his brother, the brother of John Barbot, came in 1699. The brother of John Barbot came in 1699. Sorry, the network is getting crazy. James Barbot said he stayed in the house of the king at New Calabar, Torres Ramapri. That's where he stayed. And he was there at the end of July of 1699. Calabar people, what put here on the year? He was at the house of the king, King Robert, at the end of July, in the height of the rain. And it described the time as being seated in a marshy island, often overflown by the river, the water running even between the houses, whereof there are about 300 in a disorderly heap. The king is a pretty, the king's house is pretty high and airy, which was some comfort to me during the time I stayed there. He found King Robert a good civil man, about 30 years. Their common food was yam, boiled with fish and palm oil, and every evening they clubbed together at one other houses by turn, providing 2 or 3 jars of palm wine, each of them containing 12 or 15 gallons, to make merry. Each person, man and woman, bring their own stool to sit on. They sit around and drink to one another out of horse arms, well polished, which hold a quart or more, singing and roaring all the while till the liquor is out. James Bradford was also struck by their religious devotion. Every house is full of idols, as well as the street of the town. They call them juju, being in the nature of tutelar gods. Many of them are dry heads of beasts. Others are made by the blanks of clay and painted, which they worship and make their offering to. Before the king goes aboard a ship newly come in, he repairs to his idol house with drums, beating, and trumpets, sounding all his attendants barefooted. There he makes abundance of bow to those puppets, begging them to make his ways prosperous, and then sacrifices a hen, which is tied alive by one leg to the end of a long pole, and has a brass ring on the other leg, leaving the poor creature in that condition till it starves to death. Every time their small fleets of canoe goes up for slaves, and when they return, they blow their horns or trumpets for joy. The king never fails at both those times to pay his devotion to his idols for their good success and a short voyage. Now, James Bradford had described how the town of New Calabar looked like then. In 1699, he said the town was on a marshy ground. And this is not far from the folklores that have survived to us this day. Obotoru yu pakate imbreme na boboe ani serite owe miye na bona boboe minji seri owe bebile mate. Obotoru yu pakate imbreme na bobo minji serite owe miye na bona bobo minji serite owe bebile mate. Now, what is this song saying? That is exactly the description that James Bradford gave here, that water flows between the houses, that Torres Ramapri, Ellen Calabar now, is seated on a marshy ground. And the king house was higher and more airy. That's what why he stayed. And this is the song of the Kinesekabu, describing how Elem Calabar was. As if it is verbatim. 1699. This song has survived today among the Kinesekabo. Obotoru Yupakate. Obotoru is the river from Dabara going down to Elem Bekinkiri and Elem Tombia to Fuche, the Obotoru. Now, Obotoru Yupakate imbre na bobo minjiserite owe miye nabo na bobo minjiseri seri owe bebile mate. That masquerades Sekabo who had appeared at Obotoru, which is from the New Calabar River in front of Elen Calabar. You pass through the creek, the Elen Calabar Creek. You will see Elen Minama, then you reach Dabara. From Dabara, you go down. That is the Obotoru. That is the back river. Obotoru Yupakate. The masquerades. Elen Calabar had overflown, have been taken over by flood, have been submerged by flood. So the masquerade in the Ekine house that they have left there on the Ebe, Owebe, the water had overflown, it has flooded the community, and now the masquerade had been carried to Obotoru. Obotoru Yupakate, Imbremina Bobo, my brother come, Minjiserite, the flood had caused havoc. Owe miye, Nabo Nabobo, Minjiserite Owebe Bilemate. You see, a lot of us, we cannot bring the connection, the nexus. We give his history. We just think history is fairy tale, tale by moonlight. No. History is an empirical subject. It must be reasonable and there must be connection, there must be link. Once the links are broken, that means that history is not true. It's a fabrication, it's a distortion, it's an embellishment. Look at how what James Bible described in 1699 and the Song of the Sekabu. Look at how they came together. Look at the nexus. Look at the connection, unbreakable connection. Describing the same scenario, describing the same happening that was happening in 1699 when James Bible was at Taurus Ramapri, Elem Calabar. Obotoru Yupakate, Imbre Minabobo, and Iserite, Owe Miye, Nabo Naboboi, Minji Seri, Owebe Bilemate. It solves a lot of problems. People are making claims, frivolous claims today. But like I said, I am the correction officer of Calabar history. I'm going to correct people. When people lie, we are going to expose their lies. When people embellish, we are going to remove the whitewashed paint. I'm going to remove the whitewashed paint. I will remove it. And you see the ugliness and the beauty, if it is ugliness or it is beauty. Now, Calabari people, the port of Bonny and the port of Calabari were the greatest slave port in this part of in the whole of Africa. These two ports were the greatest slave ports. Because the greatest number of slaves right from the Congo down to Senegal, the greatest number of slaves left the port of Bonny and the port of New Calabar. And who was the pioneer person who started this slave trade? were told that it is Eweredaba Black Duke. Eweredaba started it, and King Asimini of Grand Borneo Calabar took from him. So they both traded, bringing slaves from Igbo land and selling, or from Ibibio land and selling. There is no report of selling slaves of Apua people, other Ijaw people, except freeborns who commit adultery, who commit murder, who steals, who committed witchcraft. They cannot kill them, so they sell them. They were not selling other Ijaw people. And that's why there is no record of any Ogbea family in Calabar that is of slave origin, any Abua family in Calabar that is of slave origin, any Gene family in Calabar that is of slave origin, any Okrika family in Calabar that is of slave origin, any
say from Go TV, later Dominic.
From Bile that is a family in Calabar that is of slave origin, or Kola, or anywhere, or Boni, or Andoni that is of slave origin. No. Families in Calabar that are of slave origin are either Igbos or Ibibios or other group of people. It is very difficult. It's not there. I have not found. I know all the families in Buguma, in Bakana, in Abonima, in Obwama. At least these Calabar communities, I know all the families. None of them. They migrated. Andoni people immigrated to Calabar. The people, Ekwere, Ewele, the Donny family, which is part of the Ediabale house, they are people who migrated from Andoni into Calabar. They are not slave families. So also there are Abua families that migrated from Abua into Calabar. They are not slave families. So also you have Sarah, which is the ruling house in Kola. They migrated from Egene. They are not slave family. That is why King Amakri also have attachment with Ogbea. They are not slave families. They don't sell themselves. They know themselves. They identify themselves as one people, and they don't sell themselves. The only thing they do most times is this peripele, to cutting off the head of somebody to celebrate peri, which we'll come to later. So the slave trade brought enormous wealth, so much wealth to these two states, these two Ijaw states of Calabar and Boni, so much wealth. And a lot of slaves were domesticated. And they became great men. We are not ashamed of our history. These slaves they got domesticated and became great men. If you go to all over our land, People are trying to, historical revisionism, people are trying to embellish history, people are trying to distort history. No. Ediabali, I am Ediabali today. Ediabali is an Igbo man. He's from Obom in Abang. He's from Obom in Abang. From there, his family went to Obosi in Anambra State before they came to New Calabar. He's an Igbo man. I am Ediabali. So when somebody says Igbo, no, I am, yes. The name I answered today, the stool on which I sit today, which was created as one of the first working houses to be created, in fact, among the first 5 to be created in Calabar land. Ediabali became the richest man of his time. He's an Igbo man, 100%. And he never denied being an Igbo man. So I, his worthy descendant, will not deny. I have my disagreement with Igbo, but I cannot. So also is Briggs. So also is Oswald. Young Briggs, Oswald, Ediabali, my father, Wananako. These are all Igbo men. Uzoma, Elebike, Elebuke, Odikadibia, David Wells, Elebuke Wells. These are all Igbos. Let nobody come and be denying that, hey, we are not Igbos, we are not this, we are not that. It's a lie. These people are Igbos. They're Igbos. So slave trade brought enormous wealth, and it's also brought some sort of destabilization. It destabilized the society because some people brought with them so many things. The population of the Ijaw people in Calabar and in Bonny was overwhelmed by inflow of Igbo and Ibibio influence. But more of Igbo. Why Calabar was able to totally assimilate all others who came in contact with them, Bonny was not able to do so. Okrika was not able to do so. That's why you go to Ganama or Akaliama, these places, they are speaking Igbos. But in Calabar, no Calabar community speaks Igbo. In fact, even people they brought from Igbo yesterday, after today, they find it difficult to speak Igbo. So, like I said, I am historical correction officer. We have to tell our children our history, true, and leave this falsehood. Tell our history. We should not be ashamed of who we are. We should not be ashamed of who we are. It's not because somebody is making claim we are going to deny because a man is making claim. Whether Igbo people make claim or not, that's their bloody business. That will not stop us from saying that this is what we are, who we are. And we stand up to who we are. We keep record of who we are. We tell the world who we are. We stand so that from that we can draw our strength. We can become who we really are. Today everybody is fabricating. Everybody is doing this. Why the fabrication? Calabar was strong and powerful. Today, Calabar is weak and is in the mud, and everybody trample on us. So our denying, our distortion, all our rubbish. Where is it taking us to? It has not taken us anywhere. It has not taken us anywhere. We are just there. Every day we are going backward. Every day we are going backward. Because when the truth take a flight, what will we be left with? The late Amenabo, while giving a lecture during the centenary, said, "Krakra sem bekete, hero sem sakete." You know the truth, and you think you can bring falsehood and impose it on people, and everybody will keep quiet and they will accept it. No, it's not possible. God has made me powerful. God has made me strong because I am telling the truth. And in telling the truth, I have made enemies. In telling the truth, so many people have said so many things about me. The rise of Bonny and Calabari and Old Calabar, and later Opopo and Nembe, was basically the slave trade. Opopo and Nembe they were not part of the slave trade. If they were part of the slave trade, it was very minimal. It was a palm oil trade and other trade that Nembe and Opopo. At the time, Opopo left Bonny to create, went to Andoni territory to become Opopo. King Jaja became one of the most powerful kings of his time. He's an Igbo slave, a freed Igbo slave, who became a chief and led the Opopo house after his fight with Jumbo in Bonny. I'm not talking about Bonny history. I have the books, but I can't tell somebody else's story. People should come and tell their story by themselves. But what I'm going to do, like I said, I am the historical correction officer. When you are wrong, I'll correct you. Bring your facts. Don't come and make unnecessary argument, insulting people. I'm not going to insult you. I'm going to defeat you with the facts. And the facts are there. People say our history is not in books. It's a lie. Our history are in books. They are in books. There are so many books. They are there. Recorded both by our fathers and the Europeans. I prefer to look more to the European books. The reason is this. I have read the ones that our people have written, and I see the historical parasitism, historical embellishment, historical distortions, and so on, concoction and all sorts of things. I've seen that. So I filter. No, I filter the European books. So today, I can boldly say that nobody has as many books as I have. Even professors of history come to meet me to borrow books from me, because I spend a lot of money in acquiring these books. From 14 something, 15, 16 something, rare books I have, nobody have them. I travel everywhere I go to. If I go to the Netherlands, I go straight to their maritime museum. From there, I look for books. If I go to Spain, I do the same thing. If I go to Portugal,
and by Dalo Lineno, Umife, Kunisiwene Sorani and Eme. I see no Bosinkata, Manana, Mao, Edikaina Pono Bosinkata, Isna, no Adran Chainama. I Dramone, Kedramano, the Dramana for the Wazaramana. Ozaya non Kenny Bojibino, Adranama. Ocho Kurochako, I did it. Isa, dịka ị nụrụ ihe Biafran Prime Minister kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ dịgasị iche iche, ọzọ dịka ịbịa bụ ka ife nwere ikwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife ndị a niile okwugasị n'iru akwụkwọ, drọpụọla ya on the comment below. Nke ọzọkwa bụ chetakwa na ihe a bụkwa Eastern News 24 ka anyị si wee na-echetala unu, wee na-ewetakwala unu ana wee na-ewetakwala unu ya bụ ọmalịcha ife na ọmalịcha ihe dị oke mkpa n'ala Igbo. Daalụ na ụmụnne m, ngwanụ ka emesịa.